Hey, good morning, guys. Gonna do something a little different today and ask everyone for their advice. I hope we get a lot of new viewers on this video because the more people that view, the more help I'll end up getting. So basically, we're looking to purchase a forklift in the next several months here and start my research, but we know nothing about forklifts. We run a firewood business and we've been moving around everything we need, everything that's palletized anyways, with a skid steer and skid steer forks. So that's the gist of it. We're looking to buy a forklift, thinking it is going to help efficiency wise, and we just need any help we can get on this matter. So anybody that is out there running a forklift every day in a warehouse or on a landscape supply yard, it definitely doesn't have to pertain to firewood. Any forklift operator could definitely help me with some of these decisions we're trying to make. So I'm going to go over, I have 7 or 8 topics here that we're going to be looking at, and I just would like anybody's input that they have based on experience. I've never even run a forklift myself, and have no experience with them whatsoever, but we do move a lot of these IBC totes you see behind me. We have I don't know, maybe 1,500 of these baskets that we'll move around with skid steers currently, and I know it's not the most efficient way to do it, so that's the main reason we're looking to get into a forklift. We'll get started on these topics I want to go over. All right, so real quick, wanted you to see the main things we'll be moving with the forklift, and one is these metal baskets that we use for our kiln, our firewood drying kiln. They're probably roughly 5 feet tall and maybe 7 feet wide, and full of firewood. I would say they weigh about 3,500 pounds. So we're not lifting anything crazy heavy. 3,500, maybe 4,000 pounds would probably be the heaviest palletized material we'll be lifting. These IBC totes, I actually weighed this one this morning before the video. That only weighs about 1,200 pounds, and it's full of hickory firewood that's been recently split. So that's about the heaviest those get, or the way we load them, around 1,200 pounds. So not lifting huge weights at all. I just figured that'd be one thing to consider. Obviously this has pocket forks in it that are farther apart than what we would need for the IBC totes. We'll get into that when I start talking about fork positioning and that kind of thing. I'm gonna spin around and show you what we're currently using right now. So this is a Bobcat S330 that we will use a lot around the yard here. Obviously it's gonna go through tires like crazy. We're on concrete, asphalt, and gravel, and this is a pretty good setup for gravel or dirt, I think, but you start running this on concrete and asphalt a lot, and it just doesn't really make sense. I mean, not to mention, it's 92 horsepower diesel, and it's kind of overkill for moving around a 1,200 pound basket of firewood. Yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts throughout this entire video. You guys definitely feel free to correct me. I'm gonna say a lot of things that I'm not real sure of when it comes to forklifts, and I would love to be corrected if I'm wrong. Yeah, this S330 we use, and then we have this Caterpillar with right now it has rotating forks on the front of it. And obviously we can switch the rotating forks to any skid steer we have. Primarily we'll use the Rotator on this machine, and again, this one is probably no more efficient than the Bobcat, just because of emissions things they have these days. It's not as much horsepower, but neither of these are super efficient machines when compared to a forklift, in my opinion. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but These forks are kind of set up for the IBC totes, and they will obviously rotate 360 degrees and dump the firewood out of these totes as we need to unload them. Yeah, that kind of covers the machines we're currently using, and now we'll get into the forklifts. All right, so first thing I have on the list is brand. I'm definitely not brand loyal. I'll run anything. I know a lot of these forklifts are all probably manufactured in the same place, but anybody that has a brand that they like, I'm definitely interested. And as I go over these topics, I'll kind of give you the way I'm leaning and reasons for that, but I definitely am here for anybody's suggestions. As far as brand goes, I think in our area, Toyota is widely used, Caterpillar, Doosan. Those are kind of the three most popular ones that I see. But if anybody has a recommendation on brand, I'd definitely be open to that. My next topic is weight class. As far as I understand, 5,000 pound is kind of a standard size lift, and I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards is a 5,000 pound forklift. We probably wouldn't be lifting anything heavier than that, and I think going up to, I think you might be able to find some 6,000 pound forklifts, but the next step up from 5 on a lot of brands, I believe, is 8,000, and it just seems overkill to me. But you guys also let me know what you think on that. Third topic is diesel, propane, or electric. I'm kind of leaning towards diesel because we have diesel here on site. Obviously we use it for all of our other machines, and that just kind of makes sense to me. I don't really know the difference in efficiency between diesel, propane, or electric. So if anybody does, definitely let me know on that. And another thing to consider here is we're not going to be running it all day, every day, like a lot of warehouse environments. So if it were to sit for several days or a week at a time, is there a better option there when it comes to diesel, propane, or electric? I'm not really sure. Another thing is we're going to be running it primarily outdoors, so I don't know if electric is any good for being used outdoors 95% of the time. I wouldn't think so, but again, I don't really know anything about this stuff. Yeah, I'm leaning towards diesel on that. Y'all let me know what you think. Topic number 4 is new or used. I've definitely been looking at the used market, and one thing I would really like to know is what's considered a lot of hours on a forklift, because they obviously get more hours than a skid steer on average. As far as new or used, we put 3,000 or 4,000 hours on a skid steer, and that's a lot for a skid steer, but I see forklifts for sale that still look to be in decent shape that have 10 or 10,000 or more hours on them. So I don't know if buying a 10,000 hour forklift is a smart decision, or even more than 10,000 hours. I don't know if that would give us good, reliable service or not, but y'all let me know what you think on that. We would probably either pay cash for a used one. Maybe we could afford one with 4,000 or 5,000 hours on it if we're paying cash. And then if we wanted newer than that, we'd probably just go to a brand new one and finance a portion of it. All right, my next topic, number 5 on the list, is tires. I think pneumatic tires are what we need, but again, you guys let me know your thoughts. We probably have 25 or 30,000 square feet of either concrete or asphalt surface here that the machine will be on. I would say at least 80% of the time will be on some type of hard surface. That other 20% would be gravel or asphalt millings. Nothing really rough, nothing like muddy or anything that we'll be getting possibly stuck in. So either just compacted gravel or asphalt millings, or concrete or asphalt. And like I said, about 80% would be on the concrete or asphalt surface. I think solid or pneumatic are your only two options on tires. But again, I don't really know what I'm talking about. Number 6 on the list is fork length. What works best for these two crates of firewood, basically, that we're moving around a lot, are 42-inch forks. So I'm pretty strongly leaning towards the 42-inch forks. I don't know if there'd be any reason to go to anything else. The way we stack these baskets so closely together, a 48-inch fork ends up sticking out the back, and you end up getting tangled up in the baskets behind it as you're stacking them. So I think 42-inch forks are probably what we need there. Sticking on the topic of forks, I know side shift is a pretty common function on a forklift. I would assume anything we get is going to have side shift, and then fork positioning is I think a little more of like a premium option on a forklift. And since we do move these two different style baskets frequently and they do require different fork positioning, I think having a fork positioning on our forklift would be it'd be ideal. So I am going to try to find something with fork positioning. That kiln basket, I think it needs about 42 to 48-inch spread on the forks to get in those fork pockets. So hopefully that is something that's achievable with a fork positioner. Number 7 on my list is to get a rotator or not. So that would be, this is not something that you're going to find on a used forklift. I don't think it's going to be few and far between. I don't think there's many applications that require rotating forks. We don't really require it 100% on a forklift if we were to get one, but it would be nice. I know one point to definitely cover would be cost, and I know a rotator for a forklift is probably going to add $7,000 to $10,000 to the cost of the machine alone. But it definitely would be nice to have, if we ordered a new one, that might be something we order with it. But a lot of what we'll do with it is move baskets and stack them, basically just move them from point A to point B and stack them, which don't require a fork rotator. When it comes time to deliver the firewood, we do dump it out of these baskets, and it would be nice not to have to move the basket with a forklift and then grab a skid steer to rotate the basket. That's something we're definitely still back and forth on. Number 8, this is definitely just kind of a luxury item, and I don't think many forklifts come with enclosed cabs, but I have seen some that do. One thing I'd be curious about, anybody that has run one with a cab with air conditioning, does the air conditioning work well, or is it not really even worth having? We're in Georgia, so it doesn't get super cold in the winter. I think we could do without heat, and I know a lot of the cab machines only have heat and no air conditioning. So if we were to get a cab machine, I think we would want heat and AC. I'm sure you're adding a lot to cost there when you do that, but we are outdoors, operating 90% of the time. So it would be nice on rainy days to have a cab, I would think. And yeah, the heat and AC would be nice, especially if the AC works well, because we're out here in 90+ degree heat a lot, operating these machines too. That's one thing we're really not sure on either. As far as my list goes, that pretty much covers it. Again, we're probably looking at Toyota, Doosan, or Cat, something like that, and 5,000 pound rated. I'm sure there's some things I missed. Obviously if we go new, we'll be comparing warranties and that type of thing. But if there's any input you guys have, and I'm sure there's things that I've completely skipped over that are important, and I just don't know because I don't know. Any advice that you guys can give me would be helpful. And yeah, we'll probably be making this decision sometime around the end of the year. Right now it's August. I'll be looking out in the comments for any advice you guys have for us. So anyways, I think that's gonna about cover it. I really appreciate you guys watching, and if any of you are interested in firewood related videos or just general work and machinery, definitely subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. Let me know if you had this operation and you know a lot about forklifts, what would be the machine of choice for you. Really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.